Welcome back. You are watching KBC Channel 1. This is Good Morning Kenya, and we are still on with People and Politics. With me is Dr. Rotich. With me in studio, we have Dr. Matsanga all the way from the UK, and we have got Joseph Simekha, who is in Ingo itself in Bunyore in Vihiga County. Gentlemen, thank you for staying with us. Let me come back to you, Dr. Rotich. You've heard what Dr. Matsanga has said. Let me give it back to you. What is your take?
I think, Victor, Dr. William Ruto, the Deputy President, is the most intelligent man. Mm-hmm. He has a whole wealth of information. Mm-hmm. He's experienced. And when we are not guessing whether we will be in Jubilee or he will be wherever he will be at any given time. Mm. But I strongly believe that he has planned himself very well. He's the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya,
yes,
who was elected along with His Excellency the President. Mm. He has not finished his term to quit the Jubilee Party, even if there are intrigues that we are witnessing. And if you have heard of his talks, he has been explained that if Jubilee will not change, he may opt for another party, which is allied to Jubilee, that is UDA.
Yeah.
But he has not decided yet. He has given only his options open. And it is not our options to tell him that you quit or you don't quit. Of course, Kenyans are politicking. Mm. But Ruto himself has to weigh what is good for him and what is good for his leadership. Mm-hmm. In this case, he has the trust of Kenyans. He was given the mandate, a 5-year mandate, to assist the president,
yes,
as his principal advisor. Whether the president takes his advisors or not, he is there available to offer his service as he was elected by the people of Kenya. Mm. And going to politics about what is happening all over, you talk of Gachagua, you talk of
Monica injury. Right.
Let me tell you, Victor, 2022 is hardly 14 or 15 months away from now. And the political alignment are shaping up. And looking or going by it, Victor, you know, much of Ruto's expectation is the support from Mount Kenya. Mm. And they have come a long way with them. Recently, you've heard about some behind-the-scene arrangement that Ruto would wish to to come in coalition with the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. That is still something that is subject to, we are still guessing. It is not yet in the open. And one thing that you should know is that these guards, since the rumors went round that Ruto is preparing to maybe bring about the coalition between Raila, you know, Mount Kenya is a rich voting region.
Yes.
And Mount Kenya has stood with Ruto all along, as he has stood with His Excellency the President.
Yes.
And Ruto is banking on the votes of Mount Kenya to make him the president, and of course the rest of the Kenyans.
Yes.
So when Raila seems to be making his own way to come, to come to alignment with His Excellency the Deputy President, of course Mount Kenya is also watching very keenly, and that is why Ruto has to balance his politics very well. How he relates to Mount Kenya, how he relates to Raila, how he relates with Western Kenya, the rich voting the county. Mm. So in this case, what I'm seeing on the ground is that Mount Kenya would be negotiating for a better position in the government of His Excellency the Deputy President come 2022. Mm. So that is a very natural happening. And of course, you've heard His Excellency say that the only gateway to Mount Kenya is the front door.
Is the front door.
And it now depends entirely on how the Deputy President will pass through the front door, yes, to the rich voting areas of the central region.
All right.
But this is something that I want to tell you, Mr. Victor.
Briefly, yes.
And this is a situation whereby His Excellency the Deputy must balance his politics very well. Mm. He has to get the votes from Western Kenya, which we also believe it is a high population. There is also the central, the Mount Kenya region, and also now the Kenyans as at large, because they must have a share in his government.
Absolutely.
So what we are just saying, he has a job to do. He has to balance well. If he has to, his success come 2022 depends entirely on how he will balance the Mount Kenya rich region and the rest of Kenyans.
Okay, all right. So let me bring in Simekha on this one. Simekha, is there any roadblock for Deputy President William Ruto? And of course, just to bring in, how will this affect the voting pattern in central Kenya now that we have got, allegedly, we have got two camps already split on who to be the running mate of Deputy President William Ruto?
There certainly are many roadblocks, some from the system, some from just the political dynamics in Kenya, and there will always be roadblocks for, anyone who is looking for political power in Kenya.
Yes.
That is not news. They will always be there. The challenge, I think, and what will be news is, how one handles these roadblocks. What you are seeing as a split, actually, I may also say for the first time, I would agree with Dr. Matsanga on something on television. It's too early to say really anything about whether there's a roadblock or a split in anything around Dr. William Ruto. And that is why I was sort of shifting the discussion and saying that I don't even find value in focusing so much on William Ruto, but I find value in the fact that dynamics around him and the way he does his politics have forced people lower than him, a broader group, to begin to discuss, to begin to organize, to begin to mobilize, to begin to put on the table their interests. And I think, as the media, you owe it to the people to encourage that kind of discussion rather than just focusing on these 1, 2, 3 individuals. That, what is the role of the rest of us? From MPs to MCAs to those who have just an interest in politics, or do we just have to wait to be pangwad, as Ruto likes to say, kupangwa by those, who are higher up there? I think the people who are lower, the people who are, these people depend on for support, can actually organize them, can actually make demands and shape which direction they go. So for right now, we keep focusing on which direction Ruto goes according to his own determination. It would be interesting to see which direction he goes, or any one of these other politicians, Ruto, Raila Odinga, Musalia Mudavadi, and so on, according to how the people who support them determine.
Yes.
And for me, it's good to encourage people to organize, mobilize, and force their political leaders to listen to them and to go into the direction that their supporters demand based on articulation of interests.
Yes.
So I would find the issue of a running mate from Mount Kenya a non-issue if it is not about representation of interests. And I think what will prevail from that region or any other region in this country will be articulation of genuine interests of the people. But unfortunately, that may not happen if people remain ignorant and just want to focus on Ruto, Raila, Musalia, whatever, whoever, and so on. The focus needs to turn the way it seems to be turning back onto the people for them to organize and shift the balance of power.
Yeah, Dr. Simekha, let me just bring you here briefly. They have met, over 60 MPs met over the weekend, and part of the demand is that they want to see what are some of the economic gains they will gain should they have to support Deputy President William Ruto. Do you really think these are genuine demands, or they're just making them for the sake of it?
I wonder why Dr. Matsanga is laughing at them. I hope
he will explain to us. He will explain to us.
I hope they're genuine, but you know what will make a difference? Those MPs are organizers, they are mobilizers, they are leaders. Yes. But what will make a difference is whether they can demonstrate their interests are hooked into the interests of the people they represent. Because sometimes they have run around like, dogs chasing their tails, completely leaving the people behind, and purporting to, to tell the world that by them appearing with for example, Dr. Ruto, they are demonstrating support from Mount Kenya. It hasn't always been the case, because sometimes something has happened and we see a shift in the perception of the masses from that region. So I think what is going to matter, and I would like to give them total benefit of doubt, and hope that those demands are genuine. What is going to matter is whether they demonstrate a connection between what they are saying and the demands from the people they represent from their constituencies. And that, again, for me, would be really beautiful in terms of the, our politics in this country.
Yes.
That it's shifting from what the leaders decide, it's shifting from what leaders say, to them having to follow the interests of the people who support them.
Absolutely. Let me bring in Dr. Matsanga here. And Dr. Matsanga, you laughed, and yes. Simekha is just wondering, and why did you laugh? And what is your take on this particular part? Dr. Matsanga.
First of all, I just want to tell you, and to tell your, my fellow colleague, Dr. Rotich, in the studio, yes. Raila Amolo Odinga will be on the ballot.
Okay.
Single-handedly. He doesn't need Ruto. Take it from me and record this day that I told you.
Rotich will respond to that.
Sleep. Yeah, go and sleep, enjoy, put your legs anywhere in the water, in the what. Raila Amolo Odinga will be on the ballot. Why? Why? If you see me, who has been his chief critic, I'm one of those who knows the elder from long time ago.
Right.
I am not a civilian, I'm a soldier. From 1978, I've worked with the people of Kenya, the Luo people. Obote trained me to love Luo people.
Okay, so what do you think?
Now,
do you think?
No, wait, I'm coming. I'm now telling you, point number one, Raila Amolo Odinga will be on the ballot. You forget your thing of saying he's talking to Ruto. To do what? To do what with Ruto? They talked in 2007, you saw what happened. They will do what? Two.
But Dr. Matsanga, they say in politics there are no permanent enemies. There are no permanent friends.
I have not said there are enemies. I am only telling you what I know. Do you want me to add the word authoritatively? So that you can know and take my word seriously. Raila Amolo Odinga will be on the ballot.
Okay, it's upon him to declare. He's not declared that. We'll wait and see that.
Yes. No. Yeah, the handshake candidate. Okay. And I repeat, the handshake candidate will be on the ballot. Whoever wants to come under there, you can form your UDA, you can do whatever. Point number two, people don't like the truth. Point number two, the people saying they want demands from Ruto. If I were His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, my younger friend, a younger man I saved from the ICC, please keep this money for your children. Okay. Keep the money for your children. Because some of these people, I don't want to use a bad word on your television, but some of them are sharks. They want to pay their bills, sir. What work on Madeni? There are some of those MP, there are like two of them. They will not come back. You will not come back. I have started the pattern of Kenyan voting pattern. You can bring me an exam. I and Rotich will sit down. I will beat Rotich, and I will add his marks on mine.
No, Matsanga, no.
Yes, I'm saying the truth. The voting pattern, Oloo, let me speak my mind. Okay. The voting pattern of Kenya, how people vote in Kenya.
Yes.
My dear friend, they are not going to vote for Ruto. These guys are just looking for money. When politics comes, the man who is going to go in that region and say, you know what, this is what I want. The man you should watch out for is one guy who will deliver this vote, rich vote area is Uhuru Kenyatta. Whatever inroads Ruto has made in Mount Kenya are money-making inroads. But the people down there, they will ask one question, which they have been asking all the time. Omundu wefe, what has our person said? What has our person said? If you say, I don't know, Those I have been here for a long time than the two of my panelists.
Yes.
So I know the politics. I have seen the politics of Uganda.
Yes.
I've seen the politics of Zimbabwe. I've seen the politics of Ashanti. I've seen the politics of the Igbo. Look at the African comparative politics.
All right.
Big tribes always come and they have their leader, they know who will tell them where to go.
All right.
If you look at the number of votes last election from Kiambu only, everybody, even the people who are in hospital in Kiambu, were carried to go and vote.
Okay.
So if you are going to play about and you say you insult Uhuru, then you go to Ruto and pick money, my advice here now.
Fine, fine, Dr. Matsanga, coming back to you, we'll come back to you briefly. Let me just bring in, we'll come back to you briefly, Dr. Matsanga. Just hold on. Dr. Rotich is saying that he has got something to tell you because he said that you're accusing him. Dr. Rotich, Dr. Matsanga is saying that...
let us remain with the fact that Dr. William Ruto, who is actually the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, delivered votes when he was with his Right Honorable Raila Odinga. He made Raila Odinga where he went, the Prime Minister. He delivered also when he came together with His Excellency the President. He delivered. You want to tell me when he's now alone, he's defeated? This is the most experienced gentleman who has walked around and he has delivered to the people of Kenya. I mean, when you talk about the Mount Kenya, alluding them that they are up after the cash, that is an abuse. Mount Kenya people are after resources that will build their own region.
Yes.
And the coalition, the coalition that Mount Kenya people are looking forward is the coalition that will bring resources that will deliver to the people of Mount Kenya. That is the bottom line. It is not about that these guys are working on individual gains.
Yes.
And that is why they are eyeing for the number 2 slot. That is why they are eyeing that, yes, Ruto, even when you talk about what is it that they are going to give us, once Ruto deliver a seat or seats that will make Mount Kenya people, lead themselves, because it's out of their own representation that they can deliver to their own people.
Yes.
So in that case, that is what Mount Kenya people are after. And when you talk about Right Honorable Raila, I'm not saying that he's not going to contest. I have not confessed that. He has not even declared that he's going to contest. But what we know of late, the Western region, which has been the voting bank of Right Honorable Raila Odinga, are now with the ANC. The coast provinces, which has been with Right Honorable Raila Odinga, are now coming on to coalesce among themselves. They want to form a strong position that will also bargain for the bigger seat. So in this case, when you tell me about the rich support of Right Honorable Raila, where are we? I mean, which areas are we actually looking at?
Yes.
I mean, coalition is the key. Right Honorable Raila may decide to form a coalition with His Excellency the Deputy President. There is nothing so hard to do that. And even when you look at it, Victor, you can see there must have been a positive discussion behind the scenes. When you see the two oppositions actually talking together, you see there is more peace in their talk than ever.
Okay. Let me ask you this. So are the MPs, because the MPs that have been meeting are both from Central and from Rift Valley, majorly.
Yes.
Are they genuine? Are they so honest to Deputy President William Ruto?
I believe they are honest. How can you measure honest, Victor?
Yeah.
These people, they have been working together all along. Those from the Central, they have been visiting Rift Valley. Those from Rift Valley, they have been visiting Central. How can we measure them, the extent or the magnitude of faith that they have? What we can tell by what we are seeing is that they have been together. And in this case, Ruto has made inroads to every region of this republic. It is not only about the Central region. Even Western Kenya is the home of Ruto. About more than half of the MPs are talking the same language with Ruto.
Just the other day we saw MP Didmas Barara saying that he's going to take a sabbatical.
Let me tell you, Victor, as it is now, as the real politics are actually shaping up, you cannot miss 1 or 2 people who will actually defect.
Yeah.
I mean, Ruto is a politician, and those others who are surrounding him are also politicians. ANC would wish to build themselves. There are also all those others in other places who want to build their own regions. So in this case, finally, when you talk about 140 members of parliament, my friend, and compare with about 80 members of parliament, maybe from the ODM part, you are seeing a strong force that must be recognized, that must be appreciated. So in this case, His Excellency the President, Uhuru Kenyatta, will not be contesting come 2022. And those who are at the backyard, the people who will now decide the Mount Kenya votes, are the Mount Kenya people.
Okay.
They must talk among themselves. They must say, which slot are we eyeing in the next government? And by the look of things, they are looking at number 2 slot, which of course they are entitled. They have numbers. And that is why they are now, even though they are jostling among themselves,
yes,
of course it is so, it is very, very normal in a democratic setup.
Okay.
Finally, the people of Mount Kenya will decide who will lead them. And that is actually something that we are, so Ruto is not in danger in any way. Those people are discussing who is going to be, who will take number 2 slot or number 3 slot.
You can see Matsanga on my
I know Matsanga is I know what I understand about this.
Matsanga is like you're in a class and you have got something burning.
Let me say something to.
No. Let's just go to Matsanga before his hand drops down.
He's burning up.
What are you saying?
I agree with you.
Yes.
I am an elder in Africa.
Yes.
I give advice. I am just telling His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto,
yes,
spare some of this money for your children. Because I know the people he's dealing with. Some of these people were people I was buying lunch. I know how they operate. Honestly, I have not said he will not pass. He can win. He will win a constituency. That's not a problem. He might be the president. That's not a problem. But for now, the race is too early. I am telling him to spare his money so that his children don't suffer in the future when he doesn't have the money. Because when you find some of the guys who went for a meeting in Rwanda, if you find them in another hotel, briefing other people what they want, you can go and die quickly. So I am now telling Rotich,
yes,
how will you have a president from the Rift Valley and then have a deputy from Mount Kenya? It's the same thing. You are now taking Kenya. What about the Western? What about the coast? Political science you need a strategy. I am a risk assessment officer.
Okay.
I have a pride record to tell you I've defeated so many bad agencies, including ICC, because I do risk assessment. Let me tell you, it is very dangerous today to lie to Dr. William Ruto that you go to Mount Kenya, insult Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, using Ndindi Nyoro, using Moses Kuria, using Kajakwa, who might not even see the vote. They might never come in parliament.
Matsanga, hold it there. Just hold it there for a moment. Wow. Let me bring in Simekha. Simekha, I'm completely in the middle. Matsanga, hold on. Okay, hold on. Thank you. Simekha, I'm all alone here, smack in between Dr. Matsanga and Dr. Rotich. All of them are doctors, and now this is a battle of brains. Come to my aid, Simekha. 140 MPs, does this relate to votes on the ground for Deputy President William Ruto? Help me.
First of all, I wish we could get to Matsanga something to smoke to calm him a little bit.
I'm taking coffee, chocolate,
Fine.
Actually, chocolate from Ghana.
Okay.
Fine. Thank you.
All right, Matsanga. Okay, continue, Simekha.
No, let me tell you this, Oloo. It's not automatic. It is. Remember, these are people who are also worrying about their own welfare. As I said earlier, it's good to give them total benefit of doubt that they are organizing, mobilizing their constituencies, in terms of constituencies, not just in terms of where they are voted, but in terms of the region, on the basis of shared interests. But it's too early to say that they are actually demonstrating that they have coalesced all those interests together and they're projecting them in a way that can have an impact on national politics or in whatever coalition they're involved in. It's still a little too early to actually talk about that. They can shift anytime. Right now, they're worrying about their personal interests. Secondly, Rotich said something about two things that I want to, as some friend of mine would say, deconstruct.
Yes.
You know, it's, with tremendous respect, it's purveyance of lies and rumors to say, one bit you say the whole of Western has gone to ANC. And then immediately in the same sentence, you say about more than half of MPs in Western are with Ruto. What exactly are you talking about? I am speaking to you from Western. I am a political actor in Western, very active one. I wonder whether Rotich knows where Western is. There are things that I think people hear that, Western is here and there, and they imagine that is the truth. I think on a platform like this, national television, we must be engaged in critical analysis on the basis of factual information. Another thing I want to debunk, I have been a member of ODM since its founding in 2005.
Yes.
2006. What I want to debunk is, again, what I heard, that Dr. Ruto delivered the Rift Valley vote to Raila Odinga or to ODM. That is not true. I have been an active participant in the presidential campaign in 2007 and 2013 and 2017. What happened in 2006-07 is that the region of the Rift Valley completely shifted to ODM. Ruto came later, after his region had shifted. But he came as a very astute and very aggressive politician, and he overshadowed a number of people like Kosgei, both Kosgei Sally and the other Kosgei Bet and others. But it's a lie. I keep hearing this lie being repeated that Ruto supposedly made Raila the prime minister. That's a big lie. He came into ODM to be a beneficiary of the popularity of ODM in the Rift Valley. So I keep hearing this lies. And this. When we are in a program like this, by the way, Oloo, yes, I speak very cautiously when I'm talking about ODM and Raila, because I don't want to come out as praising Raila or ODM. I want to try as much as I can to be objective. Yes. And where I need to, to be a critic of Raila, I do it if and when I have the facts. So I would plead that we do this analysis on the basis of facts. It is too early. It is noise. There's a lot of noise. And if we are going to be swayed by this noise to imagine that Ruto is the presidential candidate to beat, I think we are looking up the wrong tree. And finally, just as a member of ODM, to confirm to you, yes, for sure, the Orange Democratic Movement Party will have a presidential candidate as an ODM candidate. Other people may come in to support, other people may come in to negotiate and be part of that coalition, but this is going to be an ODM presidential candidate. That I can also tell you for sure as a member of the technical team of my party.
Okay. Thank you, Simekha. And on that note, gentlemen, we just need to take a very short commercial break. We'll be right back with more after this break. We want to talk about the BBI. The MPs have finally agreed to vote on some of the key BBI issues, as well as we expect Senior Counsel Ngatia to face the JAC panel today. What does he have to say on that? Let's take a break. We'll be right back in a short while. Stay with us.
Je, umeomoka? Kama hujaomoka kwenye Quickly ndio mambo yote. Hapa tuko na fridge, kodi yake ni CM. Tuko na gas cooker, kodi yake ni CK. Tuko na TV, kodi yake ni TV. Tuko na simu aina ya Samsung ni SM, ama Oppo ni Oppo. My friend, mahali popote unanitazama, eka hizo kodi zake kisha utume kwa 4032353. 4032353. Alafu utakuwa unaomoka na hizi bidhaa. Kumbuka kwenye Quickly ni bila bora zaidi kwa bei ya chini kwa chini.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
Call the police station. Let's go.
No, let me go. I'm innocent. I didn't do anything.
Someone shot your wife. What? She's at the Continental Hospital. Emma asked Amaya to go to her apartment, and either she or someone else shot her.
Oh, my sweet Lord. I was arrested, and they want to put me behind bars. What? Immigration, please help me. I have no one else to turn to.
She got into an accident, and she was shot.
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
His will is still alive, Nikita. My son Ashok is still alive.
If we had to capture Ashok alive, then we had to keep Bindusar alive as well.
I completely break your spirit.
How can this stop me from entering my own home and protecting my people?
No matter how much you think, we cannot get inside.
What is going on? Who are they? Whoever has closed the door will not be spared from our doors. Just get that one thing clear in your head.
Welcome back. You are watching People and Politics on KBC Channel 1. This is where you get everything you need to know about politics and matters concerning you. In studio, I have Dr. Rotich. In studio, I have Dr. Matsanga joining me via Zoom all the way from the UK. And of course, I have Joseph Simekha, who is also a political analyst, as well as joining us all the way from Western Kenya, that is in Vihiga County. Gentlemen, thank you so much for staying with us. It is an interesting debate we're having here. Let's just shift debate briefly, and let's talk about the issue of BBI now that the MPs seem to have finally agreed to vote on some of the key issues on that proposed bill. Let me start with you, Dr. Rotich, now that you're here. What should we expect now that somehow they have softened their stand?
Victor, if you look at what has been happening for some time now,
Yes.
PPI had some roadblocks all along. And the most contentious issues seems to have been ironed out, maybe except this issue of creation of the new constituencies, which of course most of the MPs seems to have been, differed with the original drafters about the inclusion of that, because they say that is a prerogative of the IEPC. So in this case, once those things are ironed out, they have said that maybe by July we shall have had the referendum, which of course it is very good. And let me tell you, Victor,
Yes.
most of these leaders, especially those who are eyeing for presidential races, as much as some quarters have been assumed to be not really supporting the PPI, you look at the kind of coalitions as they are coming, very real. Most of these guys, they would wish to have these seats that have been created, the position of prime minister, the two deputy prime ministers,
Yes.
and the likes. They are also depending, because all these coalitions that are coming up, they would wish to have positions, and of which the positions have been created by the PPI. So that means most of them are banking on the passing of this, the BPI, but with removal of some of the contentious issues, like the issues to do with the creation of constituencies, which most of the people are actually seeing that the whole thing was not economical in any way. So once that one is ironed out, then of course what I'm seeing at the moment, there seems to be some soberness in the approach of the whole thing. And even you see, even within the quarters of the ODM, they were also differing, that there are some few things that the parliament should actually change. While some are actually adamant, they are saying, no, it should not be changed, because already it has been passed through the county government assemblies. So in this case, whichever way the law will take, finally, we shall have a PPI that all of these people will need if they have to fill in the position to those people who have supported them, during the election that we shall have in 2022. So in this case, once those few things are actually ironed out, I don't see anybody who will be opposing the PPI.
But somebody would ask that, is it necessary right now to have the amendments in Parliament now that it's a popular initiative and it has gone through the county assemblies and it has gone through public participation? Why Parliament right now?
That is what I'm telling you, it's a consensus. Because you overheard even Orengo saying that we are not a rubber stamp Parliament. They have to put some input. They have to either make some changes, omission or commission, in the whole document.
Yes.
In any case, what Kenyans are looking for is the best document. A document that, even though it was passed through you could see how the county governments actually passed this thing.
Yeah.
It was highly influenced. So in this case, yes, as much as it was their constitutional mandate to do what they did. But I believe the contentious issues should not go through just because the county assemblies have actually passed.
Yeah.
There must be a sober approach in the whole thing so that we bring up a balanced document that Kenyans will really be happy of, because this is our document.
Yes. Let me bring in Dr. Matsanga here. Dr. Matsanga, should the president and the ODM leader Raila Odinga be a happy duo right now, that the issue in Parliament somehow is taking some kind of a soft direction?
Number one, BBI is a redemption strategy, not a political process. Point number two, I don't know whether a doctor knows what a redemption strategy is. To stop any further violence, to change the way Kenya behaves, ethos, remove corruption. 9 points, redemption. Let's look at BBI that way. And the point I have told even the government, the president, the moment you change BBI into a political process, remove it from reconciliation, accountability, truth-telling, reparation, restitution, and healing, you have killed the whole dream. The two principals know my position.
Yes.
I've told them. Point number three, a popular initiative is never changed by simple MPs. These are looking for allowances in Windsor. I don't know why Orengo, is he growing old like me? That he forgets the BBI was a popular initiative. And that constitutional route does not change a comma. What the MPs can do is to wait for this popular initiative to go up to the president, come back. They can also initiate their own move. But to go now and start cutting down what has already passed through the assemblies is naive, stupid, prudish, sardonic.
Okay.
You don't know constitutionalism. Point number three, east or west. Kenya cannot hold an election, and Kenya will not hold an election when you have not had reforms coming out of the BBI. I have told you already, prepare for eventualities. Because if you don't do reforms, it's not only Matsanga, it's not only Rotich, Kurigila, a South African, because I'm your neighbor, you might say, I have interest. A South African told you that Kenya should never hold elections again when they have not done reforms in the electoral systems. So this is exactly the point that I hear. East or West, Raila Amolo Odinga, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta have brought something in Africa that will never go away. I love them for that. That should be the one happening in almost every Africa. When you look at Somalia, when you look at South Sudan, when you look at Uganda, when you look at Tanzania, the people should stand up, shake hands, and say, I'm sorry, you defeated me. But if I'm telling you the truth now, and as I finish, all African contestants, none of them writes 2 speeches. They write only 1 speech, winning speech. So if BBI can bring people and say, I've lost, I will become the leader of opposition, check on the government, have facilities, have secretaries to type my work, to prepare my questions in parliament, so be it.
Yes.
If I were Ruto, I would even be very happy that this BBI is going to help him on his dream, that mirage of being the president of Kenya in 2022.
Yes.
So I should be happy and wait. Don't oppose. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Matsanga. Let me bring in Simekha here. Simekha, you've heard what they're saying, and let me just bring to you some of the issues raised. Number 1 is the delimitation of the electoral boundaries and the constitutionality of the BBI promoters proposing creation of 70 new constituencies and going ahead to distribute them among 28 counties. Now, how is this going to pan out now that it is before the bicameral house, and now the legal committee before the lawmakers, both houses? How is it going to pan out?
Thank you, Oloo. First of all, I'm wondering whether I should, I have reason to be worried because I am agreeing with a lot of things that Matsanga has said.
Yes.
So I would not say them using the same colorful language.
No.
It's okay.
Oloo, you must
it's okay. Let me finish.
Oloo, you must protect me. I am older than Simekha. I am
it's
older,
a compliment.
so don't say. So I am an elder from the Luya community.
Okay.
I am your king from the clan of the kings in Uganda, where you come to get permission before you do any ceremony. So for you to call me, you don't know why you have reasons. You have to have reasons to be in agreement with your elder.
It was supposed to be a compliment, so let me just confirm it's a compliment.
Sure.
I suppose
Simekha.
only senior elders like Matsanga are allowed to use the colorful language he uses. So I could say the same things, but using slightly more diplomatic language. Now, Victor, just make a disclosure that I was a member of the team of experts of the co-chaired and co-convened the policy team.
Yes.
I therefore was part of the technical work that brought out the steering committee report and the bill and the recommendations. What the basics that I know, and from my experience in that process, a popular initiative is an initiative that belongs to the people, as represented by the promoters. The promoters take it to the people, and the people give it signatures to endorse. In this case, we were told about just above 4-point-something million signatures. I'm agreeing with the fact that, with what I heard Matsanga say, our MPs, with all due respect to them, have this exaggerated sense of self-importance. They often think that they are much more important than anybody else in policy making in this country. I defer to them in terms of lawmaking. They are the people who we have given the mandate to make them, but they must remember they do it on our behalf. When we put in our constitution, whether it's right or wrong, but it is in the current constitution that this kind of initiative does not invite them to have any input into the bill. They just ought to respect that. They may fault that. If they want, in future, they can bring an amendment to change how a popular initiative can move.
Yes.
But to the best of my knowledge, based on what I read in the Constitution, they need to accept that this is an initiative that arises from the people as represented by the promoters of this initiative. And the two houses of parliament are not any more important than us, the people who have played a role and endorsed this process. Now, let me also just quickly add that when you are amending a constitution, whatever you are proposing is not part of that constitution. It's outside that constitution. It becomes part of it after it has gone through the requisite processes. Now, the issue of the 70s, which I can disclosure here, which is personal, that I was extremely uncomfortable with the distribution, but the fact that it is a constitutional amendment proposal,
yes,
and is going through a constitutionally recognized process, and becomes a part of the Constitution, even if you do not like it, even if it's wrong, you cannot call it unconstitutional. Chebukati is totally wrong. He may not like it. He is right to say that it's the work of IEBC to delimit constituencies now, according to the current constitution. But the moment that amendment passes, it becomes part of the constitution. For that brief period that it's given, it is no longer for those 70 constituencies. It's been taken away from them temporarily for the purposes of BBI. So it may be something that even personally we don't like. But unfortunately, the law is the law. Amendment of the Constitution is amendment of the Constitution, and a popular initiative is a popular initiative. So MPs just have to swallow their pride. They may wish to change, but sorry, they are not more important than the citizens of the Republic of Kenya who endorse that process.
All right. Just bringing in Dr. Rotich here. Thank you, Simekha. Dr. Rotich, you've heard what Dr. Matsanga and Simekha is talking about. Do you see a situation where it's going to sail through, simply?
But it depends on how the parliamentarians will handle this thing. Because when you look at it, Victor, look at it this way. Why is it that this document has to pass through the parliament? If the parliamentarians have nothing to do with it, then it should have been taken direct to the referendum. So the motive behind taking the document to parliament is to be able to be criticized and to come up with the changes that they can make. And that is what I believe that the parliament can do. They are not only they are not going to do the rubber stamp kind of thing and pass it through.
No.
And you must know, Victor, how we started this process. It has been controversy upon controversies to the level where it has been.
Yes.
And where it is now, I'm seeing a lot of stubbornness, as I told you. You can see those who are opposing and those who are in agreement. I mean, they are now together in thinking, and that is why there is a need. I mean, the other side even so you would not have expected somebody of the caliber of Orengo to say, no, let us not do before we do this one. You saw it's Mbadi. There's the people from the same party saying, no, we have to take it the way it is. We don't have to add even a dot.
Yes.
It is a very healthy discussion, according to me. So in this case, once these gentlemen and gentleladies actually agree, I think this thing will go through, because the majority of what is in the PPI is what Kenyans want. It is already a good document. Save some few reservations that these people must address. But as by whether this thing is going to work or not, I'm seeing the roadmap is already clear. It may actually materialize.
Yes.
But what we are now banking on is the time frame when these people will actually push it to a referendum, because when it is just within the parliament, it is actually, over delaying, because we don't see any much that is to be done.
But then if it goes through the issues of boundaries, if it sails through, we have got referendum in June, but Mbadi is quite adamant that it might not happen because it's a matter before the courts. The creation of
when you look at this, why the issues of boundaries or creation of the new constituencies still remain contentious is because it is quite involving. And not only involving, it is very emotive. Because once you decide that this is what we are going to do, people must be involved. People must participate in the whole process. So, and if people are to participate in the whole process, that means the time is required. And so there are all these things that are required.
Yes, that now brings me to the next question. What does it portend to the BB? We have got a referendum here, and we have got next election next year. How is it going to pan out in between now and next election?
If it was not things to do with the cost itself, because having two elections, because a referendum is just like a whole election, and then going, after hardly about some few months, you go for the real election, whereby a lot of money actually will be pumped into it. But you see, this issue that we always have, that if this PPI will not pass, we will not achieve what we will have discussed all this time around. But what was it that the PPI came to do? It came to solve the problems that we have been facing all the year round. So if this PPI carries the solution of our problems as a country, that means it has to be done before the election. So those are some of the things that we must look into. It is life and death.
Yeah.
So if this will solve our problem that we have been having all these years, as proponent of the PPI have been actually arguing, that means we have to do it. So this case, those who are actually discussing about this contentious issue, they should also come to agreement and say, let us remove this one relaxfully. Like now, this issue of constituencies. What is so difficult to say, let us put this one aside? Because it is not a do or die kind of issue. It is something that can be done away, and then we leave it to the BPI to do after the election.
Yes. Okay. There you have it. We are going to take you live to the Supreme Court, where the Judicial Service Commission are still holding their sittings. This is the second week of the interviews there on my magic wall. There you have it. The red carpet laid and everything ready to go. Today we have got Senior Counsel Fred Ngatia, who is going to face the JSC panel to be interviewed for the position of the Chief Justice. Yesterday we had got Justice Nduma Nderi, who also faced the Judicial Service Commission, and today it's going to be interesting to see how Fred Ngatia is going to perform there. Many things have been said on social media. Many people have talked about who is likely to take the position, but it is not in our hand. It is in the hands of the Judicial Service Commission to get two names who will then be forwarded to President Uhuru Kenyatta to make a formal appointment. So as soon as that starts, you know the drill. KBC Channel 1 will give you that live coverage from the Supreme Court of Kenya. Now let's come back to Simekha. Simekha, this is it. So are we expecting anything special between now and next election? In terms of the budget, this is going to be included. It's going to be expensive, for that matter. We have got 4 commissioners at the IEBC who are supposed to be vetted and to fill the gaps. And as well, we have got a referendum here. What do you read out of all this? Simekha.
Thank you very much, Oloo. First of all, on constitution processes for amending the Constitution,
yes,
the requirements are not dependent on discretion or opinion. It doesn't matter what any one of us thinks. It has to be what the Constitution says. So you may disagree and think that we should set this aside, remove this matter, let MPs have an input. You are entitled to those thoughts. But it's not about what we think. It's about what the current Constitution of the Republic of Kenya says, and we must follow that. Secondly, you mentioned something to do with the courts, and it's important for us to take notice of it, that this process has some contestations that were taken to court, and they are awaiting determination. Just one thing for us to watch out, Oloo, is that courts of law anywhere must never injunct people's decision-making processes. They can supervise those processes to ensure that those processes stick within the law. They follow the Constitution, they follow the law, they follow laid down procedure. But they must never injunct, whether technically by delaying a decision or in terms of a substantive of injunction. They must never ever injunct a people's decision-making process. Courts of law cannot decide whether we are having a bad or a good constitutional amendment proposal. That's up to the people. Judges may not like it, magistrates may not like it, but that's up to the people of Kenya, even if that amendment is bad. With that said, going forward, for sure something has been set in motion. The vacancies on the IEBC, Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, are going to be filled very soon. And the reason is this will be in preparation for the referendum, for the constitutional amendment referendum, and onward for the next elections. So yes, do expect that there's going to be budgetary provision, and I am sure that you may already have seen a report from Parliament, from the Treasury, indicative that there's going to be money set aside for the referendum, as well as money set aside for the next elections. So that we can expect that is going to happen. When we analyze again whether this will happen or not, oftentimes it's good to just put aside, our political positions and look at the reality based on the experience we have with the political environment in this country. And one thing you can take to the bank, as some people like to say, is that the referendum is going to be there, and the next elections are also going to be there, and the people of this republic will make decisions. Some of the things in the BBI amendment bill may not be good things. I've confessed to you that there's one or two things I personally don't like. But it's about give and take. It's about negotiation. Because when you say popular initiative, it involves so many people. So you may not get it perfect. But there'll be an opportunity, inshallah, for those who feel very strongly to bring about future amendments and change what they may not like. But for now, I think it's important just to expect that we will have those two processes that will result in a different political layout for the Republic of Kenya. And hopefully, people will take this as an opportunity. By the way, this is just the beginning of BBI. The real BBI really hasn't begun. BBI building bridges, it's like now you are laying a foundation for a national conversation. So we put this foundation in place, and then we begin a medium-term to long-term national conversation on...
All right, okay. We are coming back to Simekha. It seems we've lost him there because of the network issues. Don't have to worry, because this is where you have to get it all right. All right, so this is it. So as I told you earlier, we have Dr. Matsanga. Let me just bring in Dr. Matsanga. Some of the MPs now say that it is quite institutional to create the new 70 constituencies. What do you make out of this?
I want to thank Dr. Rotich.
Yes.
In the studio. There's one thing he has said. If this is what has been causing us problems, let's do it and move forward. If it has caused us violence and it can cure violence, let's do it now. Thank you very much, Dr. Rotich. That's a good statement from an elder from the Rift Valley who has seen all these problems. You and I, we have seen them. Two, you are talking of constituencies. This is a matter that can be brought back after you have passed the popular initiative. You can come back to Parliament and raise another route to amend some things in what about the constituents, who should do what and where and how it should be done. I agree with Simekha on the question of Mr. Wafula Chebukati. In fact, if I were President Uhuru Kenyatta and the people of Kenya, I would not allow Wafula Chebukati to touch my ballot.
Agree with you.
I would sack him like now, pay him what is owed. He goes to look after the cows in Mount Elko. Two, I am honest man, and I tell the truth. Don't bring more violence in this country. In my county, in my parish, where I was born in 1955, I have Kenyans who have taken up land, 29 of them. They are shopkeepers. They are still there because of the violence. So we don't want any more violence in this East Africa and Africa. So I would have done so by taking the
Dr. Matsanga, let me cut you short briefly. Let's go to the Supreme Court. Briefly, there you have it. So that is Senior Counsel Fred Ngatia, escorted by Judiciary Registrar Ann Amadi to take his seat at the Judicial Service Commission interviewing panel. And that is where it's going to be. Today is going to be his turn to face the panel as he being interviewed for the position of the Chief Justice. Gentlemen, we are stuck of time. We are going for that live coverage. Dr. Matsanga, in 20 seconds, please, your closing remarks. In 20 seconds. My closing remarks are very simple. Yes.
Abide by the laws of curfew, because the disease is invisible. Don't blame Uhuru Kenyatta. You don't die with anybody. You die alone. So if you don't abide by the SOPs, pray to God.
Thank you so much. Simekha, your closing remarks, please, as we take this to a close.
Yeah, thank you very much. My closing remarks, just two things. One, I hear in those interviews several times people being asked about their judicial philosophy. I think one of the questions the Judicial Service Commission should be asking themselves and all of us as Kenyans, and we have it in BBI, what is the philosophy of justice in Kenya? Judges may have their individual judicial philosophies, but have we as a nation had a conversation and come up with the philosophy of justice in this nation called Kenya? Secondly and finally, let us see these political processes, including the BBI, as opportunities for us to mobilize and organize better for our future. I've spent a lot of time in Vihiga County. I'm doing exactly that, mobilizing and organizing, so that I'm not going to blame Raila Odinga or Uhuru Kenyatta or William Ruto when I have failed to do something for myself and for the people I share Vihiga County with. We have to do it also ourselves, instead of all the time pointing fingers at those other leaders. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Simekha. And finally, Dr. Rotich.
Thank you so much, Victor. I think my closing remarks is to ask Kenyans on issues to do with COVID-19, that it is real, it is devastating, and then we must take care of ourselves. All the regulations that have been put in place by the Ministry of Health, let us follow them to the letter. And I also ask to our security enforcers that please let us be humane in our approach in actually directing our people whenever they are late. We have witnessed things which have not been very much appealing to our eyes. Please let us assist Kenyans. Us as civil servants, we must be seen really delivering. Part of delivering of our service is to act according to the law.
Yes.
Let us effect the COVID law enforcement to the letter.
I think that's the perfect way and the perfect place to end this particular show. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Dr. Rotich in studio with me, Dr. Matsanga all the way from the UK, and Joseph Simekha from Vihiga. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure having you. My name is Victor.